this video, I'm going to talk about one of the most fundamental aspects of photography, and also something that, if you do, will drastically improve the quality of your photos, and that it's shooting at the right time of day. Now, the right time of day would typically be the hour before sunset, up into sunset, or the hour just after sunrise. Now, this photo that we have up on the screen right now was clearly not taken at either of those times. This was taken at high noon. The sun's directly above, straight up ahead in the sky. It's coming down and creating these harsh shadows that you can see here. And also it's creating shadows underneath the eyes and giving the photo just kind of an overall harsh and blown out sort of look. In theory, it's an okay photo. It's a pretty girl standing in front of an interesting background, but the light just absolutely destroys this. So what I want to talk about is, if you're not shooting at the right time of day, some of the things that you can do to get the best quality out of your photos. This photo here was taken at a similar time, maybe slightly later in the day, but still not at the optimal time for photos. So what we did in this case to kind of combat the light is we went into a very heavily shaded area. We went into the woods, and I did my best to try to get the light coming from behind the subject to create this kind of rim light right here. Now, that's something you can't do necessarily at noon, but you can do as the day gets slightly later and the sun starts to drop in the sky. This next photo here is the same sort of deal. The harsh light is coming in from behind, but it's being diffused by the trees, and it's creating this kind of fun sun flare that's happening in the front. So if you do have to shoot at these times of day, there are definitely things that you can do to still get a great photo. But if you have the option, just try not to shoot when it's high noon or when the light is just too bright outside. This next photo is taken at what I would call the correct time of day, probably about an hour before sunset. The light is very even and hazy and soft. It's a really great look for portraits of women. So I really like the look of this photo, and that has everything to do with just the time of day. Same thing with this photo here. You can actually see in the background the sun hitting the horizon line, and just peeking in over the shoulder and through the hair, you get another great little sun flare happening right here. And that's something that you can only do as the sun gets lower in the sky, positioning the sun behind the subject to get these great flares. Here's an extreme example of a sun flare. I had to get a little bit low to shoot this to get the sun directly behind my subject and to get that really extreme flare happening, which is not necessarily the best thing for the camera, but sometimes it's worth it to get a really cool, interesting shot. Now, as the sun does drop in the sky, the light does get nice and even, but you do get a very, very special time that's commonly referred to as the golden hour. And that golden hour in real life isn't necessarily an hour. It's more of like 5 to 10 minutes. It comes and goes very quickly, and it doesn't even happen every day. This photo right here was taken with that very special light during that golden hour. The sun is again behind my subject. It's coming in and creating a very soft and airy sort of quality to the photo because the sun is coming directly into the lens. Now, when you do have the sun behind your subject, what's typically going to happen is your subject's face might become a little bit dark because all of the light is coming from behind. So one thing that you can do to fill in that light on the face is to use something like a reflector, or even portable lighting such as a flash or portable strobe or something like that. Here's one more example of a photo taken during that very special golden hour, or golden 5 minutes. And again, it's the same formula. We have the sun coming from behind. It's creating this great flare, and then I'm filling in the light from the front using either a reflector or, in this case, it was actually a beauty dish. Now, after the sun begins to set, you go into what's called the blue hour, and the blue hour is commonly referred to as twilight. Now, it's another great time to take photos because everything takes on this very, very even, very cool blue quality, and it's a very moody sort of look. The one thing that I can warn you about shooting during this hour is be prepared to use some sort of alternative light source if you want your subjects to have a dynamic look to them. If you want everything to be completely even, yes, you can shoot completely natural light without an external light, but I like to add in something like a beauty dish or a softbox or something like that, just to make the subjects pop out a little bit more. And here's one final example of a photo taken during that blue hour. The flash that you see in the back here is actually, it's actually not the sun. It's actually another light that I had set up, firing just above my subject's shoulder and giving this cool sort of flare right here. And then I have another light position off camera to the right, coming down and creating this kind of harsh divide on the face where one side is in shadows and one side is more evenly lit. And that's a type of lighting that works great for men. Not the best sort of look for a beauty portrait on a woman. But again, the quality and the mood of this photo has everything to do with the time of day that it was taken. You can even see the bokeh from the city lights that have been turned on in the background, something that's just not going to happen at high noon. So to recap, the middle of the day is the absolute worst time to take photos, but you can combat that by bringing your subject into a heavily shaded area, getting them away from that harsh light. If you want nice even light, you're going to be talking about shooting in the hour before sunset. You can even capture a nice sunset in the background or a flare. And if you're very lucky, you'll be able to take advantage of the very special golden light that only appears for just a few minutes. And if you want something extra moody, wait till just after that sunset, and you'll get a lot of very cool, rich blue tones. And hopefully that one tip will greatly improve your photos.